Great to have you all here. Welcome to the pre-arrival webinar. You're all here because you're all joining our program upcoming in Nepal in Jhunga, our new program. So really, really great to have you. Welcome to the webinar. I'll just talk you through what we're going to go through on the webinar as we're welcoming people in. Can we skip just to the next slide? We'll be going through some introductions. So we'll introduce you to some of the team that you'll be working with on the ground in Nepal, and we'll also introduce you to some of the off-program team as well. We'll also go over a bit of an overview. There'll be some people, I recognise some names on the call already. But there'll be some people that are joining us at All Hands on Hearts for the first time. So we'll go over a bit about All Hands on Hearts. We'll talk about our goal for the programme. We'll talk about what to expect. We'll also discuss travelling to programme. We'll look at the work on site. We'll look at different volunteer opportunities. It's not just you turning up as a volunteer. There's other opportunities to get involved in. And we'll also have a question and answer session. And some of you have put your answers in, your questions, did I say? You've submitted them already, so thank you so much. We'll be covering questions that are already asked, but if you are thinking about things as we go through the presentation and you have a question, please feel free to put that in the chat, just where you've added where you're all based. Please pop into the chat and add any questions, and we'll do our best to address them towards the end of the session. And if we do run out of time, don't worry, we can grab everything from the chat and just make sure that we answer everything. So if you just make sure that your name's there, we can get back in contact with you, or we'll send that along with the recording to answer any and all questions. So we're going to kick off with some introductions. Myself, I'm really happy to be here. I'm Siobhan McRae. I'm the Chief of Volunteer Operations. So I oversee everything to do with volunteers across the whole organisation. So that's we're going to introduce you to some of our volunteer coordination team, and we're going to introduce you to our volunteer engagement manager and our alumni relations manager. So all those departments fall under me, and the idea is just to everything from getting you to program to finishing up on program and making sure that you can still stay connected with us. That's everything to do with my role. I'm going to pass over to Denny to introduce herself. She's our volunteer coordination manager. If you say hello, Denny.
Hi everyone, I'm Deni Budiacheva. Very nice to meet you all. We've been most likely in touch already via your invitation emails and maybe some inquiries you sent me already. So yeah, super nice to meet you. As you probably figured, I'm overseeing the volunteer coordination across our programs and also supporting our amazing volunteer relations coordinator that are based on those specific programs. So I'm just supporting them remotely. For this program, we have Dan. He's going to be the on-site volunteer coordinator. He might have already reached out to some of you as well to help you prepare for the trip. If not, he's going to be reaching out to you 2 weeks before your scheduled arrival date. But yeah, so nice to meet you. We also had Tara here, who was presenting the slides before, but she's also having a little technical difficulties, so I'm not sure if she's
Back
back.
if you want me to jump in, Denny. Sorry, I don't know if you were talking before me. Yeah, sorry guys, I've been having a bit of technical difficulties. Like Denny's in Sri Lanka and having issues, and I'm having issues in England, which seems bizarre because it's England. But anyway, so yeah, nice to meet you guys. I'm Tara, I'm the volunteer engagement manager. So I support Dan and the volunteer relations coordinators with implementing our volunteer engagement strategy on programs. So that's talking about the volunteer fundraising, the volunteer advocacy piece. And so yeah, I support Dan with all of that. I'll talk a bit more about that later, but it's lovely to meet you all. I did have the pleasure of going to Nepal program last year, the last program rather. So hopefully you see some familiar faces. But yeah, thanks so much. I'll pass on over to Niall.
Hello, everyone. I'm Niall. I am your alumni relations manager. My role is managing the kind of interaction and engagement that we have with the organisation once you guys leave programme and also during. So we have the Alumni Relations Network, which I will chat a little bit more about later in the presentation. But essentially, it's a really cool space to stay engaged with what's happening within the organisation, looking out for professional development opportunities, and staying involved with all hands throughout your experience.
Thanks so much, Niall. And Anna, would love to hear from you.
Hey everyone, I'm Anna. I am the Senior Project Manager overseeing our international projects, which means I'm mostly working with our construction teams across the globe, making sure that they have all the information that they need, making sure that they know to what information to give you guys to make sure that you have everything you need on a daily basis when it comes down to construction. So I'll be mostly working with Rika, who's going to be your project manager on program, but also with the rest of the construction team. And I'm here today to explain you a little bit more about what we're actually going to be doing. So I'm excited to tell you about all of that.
Thank you so much, Anna. And then Gambir.
Gambir isn't able to join us at the moment. He's had to jump on a call. So we'll jump straight to me. My name's Kez. I'm the program director. So I oversee everything that happens on the ground on the program. Over to Deepak.
Hello everyone, my name is Deepak. I'm the operations manager. I am responsible for the safety and well-being of the volunteers, mostly on base with the capable support of our operations team.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm the Volunteer Relations Coordinator. If any of you are arriving within the next few weeks, you'll have probably already been in contact with me or received an email from me. If you've got any questions in the run-up to your arrival or once you arrive on program, I'm who you can contact. You should all have my contact details, so just reach out if you've got any questions.
Amazing.
Cool.
Thanks, team. I don't know if is Jas or Ajit there, or will we just let the team know that
that's us for now. All the construction team are having the night off because they were on site.
Quite right. So just to explain to everyone, we split the team up there. So everyone that you see that introduced themselves under the off program team, we work remotely, supporting the organisation from a distance, and then the team here that you see all together under Kez Burrow's name. So we've got Kez and Dan and Deepak all working on program, and we've got some amazing people also helping. We've got Ajit in finance and logistics. We've got Jas, who's our community coordinator. We've got some local workers. We've got cooks and drivers. And as part of the construction team, you'll see on the slide, we've got Reka, we've got Matt, and we've got Chet and Bawana, and some local masons as well. So you'll meet all of them, and of course you will be joining as well as our volunteers. A very, very important part of the team. We just wanted to give, like I said in the introduction, we wanted to give an overview of All Hands and Hearts for anyone that might have never worked with us before. I can see that there's people on the call who are who've volunteered before. I recognize some names, but for some people it's going to be your first time. So just wanted to provide a little bit of an overview, and of course there's so much that you can read about on our website. We're going to have Niall explain an exclusive platform called the Alumni Network. So there's loads of opportunities along with your volunteer information hub to learn more about the organisation. But just as a quick overview, our story, the lives of our founders, David Campbell and Petra Nemkova, they were changed forever by the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. So we've actually been in operations. This is actually our 20th year of operating and responding to disasters. We're very, very proud of that. And our mission is we're providing community-inspired, volunteer-powered disaster relief. And as part of that, through our vision, through volunteer and community engagement, we focus on helping families recover faster after natural disasters. And in doing so, we strengthen both our volunteers and communities in which we serve. And that's where that's the idea behind the volunteer-powered disaster relief. Without amazing people like you turning up and giving up your time, we couldn't do what we achieve year on year. So thank you so much for signing up and joining us. We will be sending out these slides, so you'll see that there's some videos to play there. So please do check out we've got some really powerful videos about our founding and how we got to where we are. So do check those out when we send along the orientation, the slide deck for you, sorry. And then I think we're going to head over to Deepak. Deepak's going to just walk us through the disaster that we are responding to, which is the Gorkha earthquakes, which happened back in April 2015. Deepak, over to you.
Thank you. So before I jump to the current program, let me share a brief history of all hands in Nepal. So we all know big earthquake happened on April 15, 2000, April 25, 2015. And following that earthquake, two other big aftershocks happened. And in the process, almost 9,000 people lost their life, like 20,000 people, about 22,000 people, they got injured. When we talk about the school, almost like 16,000 schools were damaged. And among those 16,000, almost like more than half, 8,000 schools were severely affected. And as of now, as of 2024, more than 7,500 schools have been built, and some are in process of building. So if we talk about the history of all hands in Nepal, it started, started its operations in the response phase, where it was mostly concentrated in demolishing the hazardous buildings. As time passed on, then we focused on like rebuilding the mostly community structures that would be like government schools and some of the community health facilities as well. So one might have a question that earthquake happened in 2015 and we are still uh, doing rebuilding work in 2025. So what happened is when earthquake happened in 2015, one of the like Kathmandu and surrounding areas, which were kind of more accessible, they got the priority from the government, and also like they got the interest from the assistant partners. So they were one to get the assistance first. Our current program, our current region where we are now located, so like before 5 years, it was kind of inaccessible in the sense that it didn't have the proper roadways, it didn't have the proper communication system, uh, it didn't have the proper health system built. So it was kind of inaccessible for people to come and have help. It was also logistically very difficult to come and help the community here. So like after 5 years, uh, most of the priority of the development partners, it changed. The interest faded. The government's priority also changed. But this type of community, they were always in need, so they were looking for suitable development partners. And Alliance, it during its what do you call program development phase, was looking for similar kinds of schools nearby the community. And that was one of the reason like the crossover happened, and we are currently undertaking this program. So okay, our goal for this program is to install safe and healthy learning environment in one of the three basic school. In another school, we are building the wash facility. So we are not just building the hazard resistant buildings. In addition, we are installing some we are aesthetically improving the landscaping. We are providing the play games as well, so that children are more motivated to go to the school and learn in a safe and healthy learning environment. So if we talk about the city basic schools, we will be mainly building two disaster resilient schools, and it would consist of 6 classrooms, 3 classrooms per building, and it would have playground, landscaping. It would have water, sanitation, and hygiene infrastructures. For another school, Sri Navajyoti Secondary School, it's a kind of it's not basic school. It's kind of higher school. So beyond the elementary school, it does have everything. Like if we talk about the classroom, it does have sufficient classrooms. The only problem Navajyoti school currently has is it does not have sufficient toilets, washrooms, compared to the number of school children they have currently. So throughout this course, especially after 2018, one of the our main partner, Relief Nepal, has been with us, especially for project identification and project execution and post-project handover. This Relief Nepal, it has been one of our critical support. For example, in undertaking any massive big projects in Nepal, there are certain legal procedures that we need to comply, and there are certain legal clearance we need to do. So Relief Nepal has been very much helpful in terms of getting clearance from the government, and helping especially in terms of in the project development phase, coming with a meeting with the community, getting the approval from the community, from the local government, and all those sorts of things. And also, like as a part of because we are doing the work as a project, and it needs to get clearance from government. It's called Social Welfare Council, because all hands as a donor has to funnel its money through that through one channel, and there is one government authority that would at least regulate the flow of funding to the program. So with that stakeholders, Relief Nepal has been helping us in terms of getting clearance from that typical government organization. And also in every school, like we do, in addition to building the school, we also organize capacity enhancement programs. So for those capacity enhancement programs that usually involves menstrual hygiene management, hazard risk reduction, like child right protection, for this kind of training activities, Relief Nepal has been, at least like they have been also contributing their human resources, and also contributing financially in order to, in order to install safe learning atmosphere in the schools. So if there is any question, please feel free to let me know. I shall be happy to address.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Now we're going to head over. I think it's going to be Dan's just going to explain a bit more about what you can all expect when you come to join us on programme as a volunteer. Thanks so much, Dan.
Cool. So just to introduce you a bit to the area that you'll be coming to. We're in a village called Jhunga. We're building in a village called Jhunga. Sorry, which slide are we on? There we are. Yeah, and that's it's a fair old drive from Kathmandu. It's about a 6 or 7 hour drive. And it takes you out of the Himalayan type mountains, and we're kind of more in sort of, it's still absolutely stunning here. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. But it's not sort of snowy mountain peaks or anything like that. We're based in a valley, so from our base, we have an amazing view over the river and all the local farmlands. The main source of work in the area is farming. You'll see lots and lots of rice fields around here. Something else to note is, and I've already learned this a lot from speaking to some of the community members near the school, is a lot of the youth around here go abroad to work for more job opportunities and things like that. But there's still a lot of kind of long-term farming and long-term land ownership here with all the different farming and things like that. It says they're dairy farming. You will see a lot of cows here. About sunset time every evening, you'll see the cows getting herded along the road past our base even. So that's an awesome sight to see. In terms of the weather, because we're not so much in the mountains at the moment, it's quite warm. Really, as a Brit, I would consider it very, very warm. So be prepared to pack accordingly for this time of year, but we are also coming into the winter season where it's also going to get quite cold in the evenings. So it's as some of the questions have been asked is regarding what to pack. You kind of need to pack a little bit for both. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Bring plenty of sunscreen because it does get it's very, very sunny. It mentions there the local languages. Most people in Nepal will speak Nepali. There are some other dialects that people might have as a first language, but most people will also speak Nepali. And in terms of within the local area, getting around, my favorite way to get around here is by tuk-tuk. And yeah, there are options for public buses and jeeps. You will take those to come from Kathmandu or on longer journeys, but just within the local area, tuk-tuks are the option. If we move on to the next slide, thank you. What we have here is a bit about the local towns. So in the area that we are based, we are very rural. There is limited access to certain items around here. Like the local shops sell maybe one type of soda, a pack of biscuits and some beer, and that's kind of it. So anything more than that would be a tuk-tuk ride either way to either Dakar in one direction or Biman the other direction, both of which are kind of 20 minutes, half an hour tuk-tuk ride away. And from there, there was questions being asked before about bedding and stuff like that. You should bring your own bedding to program. We have a limited amount of mattresses and we have nothing in terms of blankets or really pillows or anything like that. So you should all bring your own bedding. But should you not be able to, or you're worried it would take up too much space, Biman, which is about a 30-minute tuk-tuk ride away, has all of those sorts of things available to buy. As a reference, I bought 2 mattresses recently for the equivalent of about $15. So it's it's very easy to get those things if you aren't able to bring them. But yeah, they're both awesome towns to go and see in general. And yeah, there's whilst I can't speak in great detail about all the different things to do around here, I've only been here a couple of weeks myself. It is very beautiful. The towns are wonderful. The people are wonderful. So yeah, it's a wonderful place for us to be. Next slide. Yes, cool. So our base. We're very lucky here to be joined by 11 Masons now that have worked with us on previous programs. So they have built a fair few bases in their time, and they've put up this base in the space of about 10 days. Not the building, that's been there a long time, but all the other stuff that goes with it. Like the kitchen area, the showers, we've got some dry toilets outside. All of that has been built by the Masons. I just seen a question pop up about bunk beds or tents. So we have provision to provide a bunk bed space for everyone. Tent space is the limiting factor. We don't have that many spaces. So if you are interested in bringing a tent, please reach out to me first just to check whether or not there is space. But should there not be space, we have bunk beds for everyone. Those are spread out across 8 bedrooms. We've got 2 to 3 bunk beds in each room. We have 12 small tent spaces. So please, if you are bringing a tent, make it a small one, sort of 1 to 2 person size, nothing more. For toilets, we've got 3 indoors toilets, 1 Western style, 2 squat, 2 dry toilets and a urinal outside that the masons built recently, 3 bucket showers. So that kind of is what it says on the tin. Fill up a bucket, you pour water over yourself. It's yeah. We've got a kitchen. We've also, as well as the main kitchen that we can all use, there's also a separate area where Lalajit, our cook, who's been on previous programs, some of you might remember his name. He is going to be cooking meals for us every day but one. What else have we got? Yeah, we've got a dining and common area. Deepak's done a great job of planning out the base and making sure we've got lots of areas to chill out after days on site. We've got a volleyball court. We've got a room that we've filled with mattresses and carpet upstairs. We've got provisions for a first aid room as well. And yeah, there's a fire pit, which if any of you have been on a Nepal program before, apparently it's a big hit, so you'll be excited to hear that that's here as well. I saw a lot of questions pop up there. I've tried to answer 1 or 2 as they've come, but I'm sure we'll provide all the answers in more detail after the call if I've missed anything. Cool. So in terms of the daily schedule, we will be leaving for site at 6:30 in the mornings. It's a 25-minute walk to site, which I know is a bit longer than we've had on previous programs, but it is a very beautiful walk, so there's that. Work starts at 7 a.m. with a stretch circle and then getting on with tasks for the day. It's not included in there, but both in the morning and the afternoon, we have a 15-minute break, 15-minute water break. Lunch will be provided for you at site by Lalajit. Will be cooking that. And then once you're back to base, after work ends at 4, there will be a volunteer meeting at 5 p.m. and then dinner again cooked by Lalajit. Just on the food side of things, lunch and dinner is provided on every working day. Breakfast is not provided on any day in terms of it's not cooked, but we do provide some items like peanut butter and bread and things like that that you can make for yourself in the kitchen. And then on Saturdays, which is our only full day off, you will be required to sort your own food out, whether that's cooking on base or going to a local restaurant or something like that. But other than that, food is covered. We have a curfew at 7:30 p.m. and then quiet hours at 9. One thing to note, something that is different in Nepal than is normal in most other countries, is the days of the week that we would be working on. So like the equivalent of what we would have as our Sunday day off in Europe or America, that would be a Saturday here. So our working week is Sunday through till Thursday, plus a half day on the Friday morning. So that's what our working week will look like. Yeah, I think I've covered probably not everything, but hopefully most useful things. Yeah, any questions, pop it in the chat or feel free to reach out to me directly. I'll be happy to help.
Thank you so much, Dan. And we've seen a couple of questions in the chat there. I think Denny and Tara are jumping through them to answer anything that they can, but also these might team in with some questions that people have already asked, and we'll grab them in the Q&A. So if you don't see your question answered right away, it might be that we're waiting till the end. Thank you so much for that, Dan. That was really informative. And now we're going to talk more about the school build and the stages of construction that you'll experience at different times whenever you're joining. And I believe that's Anna that's going to walk through that.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, super. If you have been to Nepal in the last 2 years, you would have seen a very, very similar structure that we're going to be building in this program. As Deepak mentioned before, like on the Jhunga school, we will be constructing two school buildings, plus a toilet building. And then on the Navajoti side, we will be constructing just a wash building. And I'll come to the wash in just a little bit. The two biggest construction projects for sure are going to be those two school buildings that will have 3 classrooms each. You see in the pictures here and the ones that will come later on, a little bit the phase of constructions that we have. So while you're not there yet, the team's going to start the excavation this week, hopefully tomorrow, one of the next days. So you might have been on projects where you have to manually excavate all of the footprint of the building. This is not the case for this program. Like, to save a bit of time, we will excavate already most of the foundations, and the only manual labor that we're going to be doing in there is just like shaping the edges and making sure it is actually all square. From them on, we will be starting. Well, the building overall is a concrete frame structure, which means we'll be coming up from the foundations all the way to the roof. We will have columns continuously going all the way up, and we will have beams tying the building together. So you will, when you're constructing it, you will be probably pouring some concrete. You will be laying some of those red bricks in the beginning that you see in the second picture underground. You'll be pouring some concrete again. You'll be installing some bricks again, and so on. And this will continue until we get all the way to the roof. What you see at the bottom here is a way that we've been trying to reduce the CO2 footprint of our building a little bit, which means we are actually, once we're out of the foundation, the infill of the walls will not be red bricks, but it will be what we call compressed stabilized earth bricks, CSEB. You will hear this probably a lot. And this is a mix of of clay, of cement, and of sand that are compressed into a brick shape, and they look a little bit like Lego. You see that on the second last picture on the screen. They have those little circular parts coming up to then stack them on top of each other, really literally like you would picture it for Lego. Unfortunately, they are not quite as uniform in Nepal as they would be when you have those little pieces at home, but the system remains the same. And yeah, if you want to swap to the next slide. Awesome. So you see a little bit how this is going up. We will be plastering the inside of the building, which you can see on the second picture on here. We will not be plastering the outside of the building. This is, again, part of the strategy to reduce the amount of cement that is being used in the building. On the inside, it is required by the building code of Nepal, so it has to be plastered. The outside has not to be. So what we're doing is you're just going to be, the outside is just going to be painted with a paint that is waterproofing or water resistant, to make sure that while we're not protecting it with a layer of mortar, we still protect the building from the weather in the long term. And yeah, last but not least, we'll install the roof. That is, like, literally everything is done by our masons. So also the roof, which is a metal structure, is prefabricated on site by some of our welders. They'll lift up the trusses, install the purlins, which is what is going perpendicular to your roof trusses, and they will install the sheets on top. And that's basically it. A little bit of paint, and there you go. Beautiful building. And on this last slide, for the nerds amongst you, I just added a little bit of detail on the wash structures that we're going to be building. On the top left, you see the footprint of the bathrooms on the Jhunga side, so on the big side, which will be 3 bathrooms. And then on the right top, you see the Navajoti side, in which we are only installing the bathroom building, which is a 7-pan bathroom, of which one is accessible for disabled kids. So yeah, the footprint is actually not that much bigger. You would think, wow, 3 versus 7, it's a lot bigger. It is actually not that much bigger. Just the actual toilets are a little bit smaller than they are on the first site. And then at the bottom, you can see a picture of what that's going to look like from the outside. This is a single toilet, which is from the last year, but yours will essentially look the same, just a bit bigger, but the structure remains the same. That's it.
Thank you so much, Anna. And I just wanted to add anyone that's there around the end of program that has nice mural painting skills. Sometimes we get very creative and we let people loose with their paintbrushes to make really gorgeous murals. So you might get involved in that as well if you're there later towards program. Thank you, Anna. Now we're going to touch on some additional opportunities. So you obviously are welcome to just come along and do your standard volunteer shifts. That would be enough for us, but some volunteers like to take on additional opportunities. I know Kath, who's commented in the chat, Kath's been a base manager before. I believe she was also a team leader as well. So we've got base manager, team leader opportunities, and site manager opportunities. I'm going to go over each one of these to tell you a little bit more about them. They're additional roles, and it just means it gets you a chance to gain a little bit more exposure of how our program works. And they could also be for anyone that's interested in maybe getting a job with All Hands and Hearts. That can be a good first step to getting a role with us. So we'll talk a little bit more about each one. And the first one being the base manager, really important role here with us. So the idea is you're helping the operations team. So we introduce you to Dan there, we introduce you to Kez and to Deepak. So you'll be helping the operations team on base, helping with coordinating housekeeping, keeping it tidy, keeping it safe, keeping it clean, keeping it organized. Supporting with base safety, and that will be to do with inventory and maintenance wherever it's needed. And it's all just really about, just recognizing that a well organized, safe, and comfortable living space is really crucial to having, a positive volunteer experience for yourself and also for your fellow volunteers. So that's kind of what it's all about. And the importance behind it is just really helping to streamline communication. You could view it as serving as a mediator between being a volunteer and the program staff. So it gives that little extra bit of mediation and streamlining communication. And it just would help, if you took that role up, it'll help you get a deeper understanding of the program operations and just overall, it just would help increase our efficiency. So it's a really great role to get into. You wouldn't need any experience, just come along as a volunteer and let the team know that that's something you might be interested in. I believe it might be a bit more suited to someone that's there for a little bit longer rather than a couple of days, but the team would obviously talk you through that. But yeah, we're just looking for a willingness to learn and invest extra time, just an understanding for others and having good communication and just an interest in learning about the organisational background. So that's just a bit about the base manager role, and we'll obviously send a bit more information along with the recording on that. And you can obviously chat to the team, especially Dan and Deepak, on whether you think you'd be a good fit for that when you arrive. The next role, just checking that we've changed over, so we're heading over to the team leader slides. Thank you so much. Team leaders is a bit more focused on the site. So when you go to site and you're helping, Anna's talked through the scopes of work there. You're going to be helping, build these incredible classrooms and these wash facilities. So the point in the team leaders is quite task specific, and you would be like a point of contact for maybe a less experienced volunteer or volunteers that are just kind of quite less experienced on site. And again, it's about increasing that communication between site staff and a smaller group of volunteers. The idea would be that the team leader reports on progress. They might discuss any problems or any questions that volunteers have. They can help identify best practices if there's something that's been going really well and they've found a good way of doing something that's more efficient. They can also help us with learning lessons. Maybe if something hasn't gone so well, it's great to hear that, that constructive feedback. And obviously, if there's any injuries, they can attend to that because they will receive first aid training. Um, Team leaders will also participate in work planning, training volunteers, making sure volunteers are oriented to the site and that they understand how to use specific tools safely. There'll be daily team leader meetings, and you'll also help with documentation. So we track all of our volunteer hours, for instance, so you'll help with that where needed. And just overall, just motivating the team, being a really good boost of morale for teams of volunteers. It's an amazing experience being a volunteer as part of All Hands and Hearts, but it can be quite hard work. And Dan's mentioned it can be quite hot. So just making sure everyone's well hydrated and the morale keeps going. It's a really good a really great. Oh,
I got a call
sorry.
about.
Oh, sorry. Was that someone talking there? I think I missed it. Sorry if I interrupted anyone there and anyone was adding anything. I'll keep going there. And if there's any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. I'll just be transparent. I'm looking at the slide deck. I'm not looking at the call. So sorry if I've missed a chat there. Yeah, so just generally motivating the team as a team leader is a really, really good helping hand to us. And again, very similarly, why we would like that, it just helps streamlining communication, like I said, gets a deeper understanding and providing consistency is really, really key as well on site to have the same person doing the same kind of training and making sure volunteers are doing the same activities all the time. We've given an example there with rebar prefabrication. It's great to have people tying the rebar in a certain type of way, for instance, and it just overall increased safety because we've got more eyes on the ground looking out for everyone and making sure everyone's doing the right thing in line with their safety and well-being training. And again, open to anyone that wants to engage in that. You wouldn't be asked to be a team leader, right within your first couple of days, but once you've, got a hang of something, or it might be that you do something really, really well, and the construction team might even approach you and say, "Hey, like you're really great at that aspect of work. Would you consider being a team leader and training other people?" And again, it's the same, understanding further, good communication. We're really looking for reliability there. So if you wanted to be a team leader, let's make sure that's the right decision for you and you've got the time and compassion to put into that. And again, it's, having an interest to learn about our org background. And then the final volunteer role that you can get involved in is the site manager role. So this one's a little bit of a step up, and we would offer that to someone with some quite extended program experience, because the idea around that, or maybe you've got safety training experience or you come to the program with construction management experience, someone like that, because it's a bit more about supporting the team with site safety. You would carry out safety walkthroughs, you would check PPE, so that's our protective equipment, our hard hats, gloves, goggles, eye pro, ear pro, all the things that you might need to protect. And checking tools, making sure they're in good working order. You'd make sure that all our first aid kits are stocked with everything that we need. You would document any injuries or any near misses, anything like that. Supporting with tool inventory, and just generally supporting the organisation of the site. So making sure the tool shed's in really good working order and the storage is all great and the site signs are up to date. And you would be a point of contact or an assistant to the site team just for any kind of non-specific tasks. So just things that they might need extra support with. And again, hopefully this is self-explanatory, but the reason behind having that site manager role is just, again, it's increased site safety. Having someone dedicated, having someone detail focused, supporting in that role is really, really important. You would also be a point of contact for volunteers for safety and tool related questions. It just means they always know who they're going to about that. And it's just longer term support in the background for the construction team. It's really, really handy for them to have someone that they can trust to go out and look after some of these things while they concentrate on more focused tasks. And it just helps with the daily workflow and planning. And again, the who, that is someone that's willing, someone who's willing to learn and invest the extra time, someone with a real interest and compassion for safety, as someone with talent to organise, and someone with interest in learning a bit more about the org background. But like I say, the team can feel free to step in and correct me here, maybe Anna, but I would say that that is going to be someone that's been on the programme a little bit more than, just a couple of days. I think we're going to be expecting you to have a really good handle on the scope of work and what we do and the kind of safety aspects that we look out for. And heading on to the next slide, we're going to head over to Tara now, just to talk about volunteer engagement, just to think about the ways that you can prepare to get involved in that before you arrive and what it's going to entail when you're on programme. Over to you, Tara.
Wicked. Thanks, Siobhan. Thanks, guys. Yeah, first of all, just want to say thank you so much for joining this webinar and coming along. We're so excited to have you join this amazing community of people. Everything we achieve on sites, every wall built, every classroom reopened, is made possible because people like you show up. But there's another piece of the puzzle that makes all of this work possible, and that's funding and awareness. So before you even arrive, you can already make a real difference by helping us spread the word and raise vital funds for this programme and the communities we're supporting. So just to be clear, we're not asking you to donate your own money. Like, obviously, if you'd love to, that'd be wonderful. I'm not going to say no. However, you're dedicating your time and effort to join us, and that is more than enough for us because we appreciate it hugely. What we're actually asking is for you to share your story, to invite your friends, your family, and community to be part of the journey with you. Think of fundraising as a way to bring others along. Some people may not have the opportunity to volunteer themselves, so we want to be able to give them the opportunity to support you and the work you'll be doing. So let's talk a bit more about what that actually looks like in action. Some of you may have seen this before, so this is called our fundraising iceberg. This acts as a visual analogy for what volunteer engagement actually means to us. So at the tip of the iceberg, as you can expect, it helps fund the work. So every tool, nail, and meal that keeps our programs running is funded by donations. So fundraising helps to ensure we can continue providing meaningful experiences and ongoing support for the communities we serve. You also become an advocate. So when you set up a fundraising page or post about your upcoming experience, you're not just asking for donations, you're telling your network, I believe in this. And that kind of advocacy is incredibly powerful. It shows people that you care deeply about all hands and you trust our work. In fact, actually, a quarter of our incoming volunteers found out about All Hands and Hearts through word of mouth. So that just shows you how incredibly important your voice is in this scheme of being able to run our organisation. You also raise awareness and inspire action. So every time you post about your upcoming experience or share your fundraising page, you're helping hundreds of people understand the long-term reality of disaster recovery. And you might inspire someone else to volunteer, to donate, or simply learn more. We're still in Nepal responding to an earthquake from 10 years ago, and the media attention has long gone. Like, who's reading about this earthquake in BBC anymore? So we need people like you to continue to share the work that we're doing and still needs to be done. Even a small post on your social media can reach further than you think. A friend could share it, someone new discovers All Hands and Hearts, and suddenly there's a ripple effect. Boots on the ground is how we continue to serve as a volunteer-powered disaster relief organisation. Finally, you give back. Even before you arrive, All Hands and Hearts never charges people to volunteer. We believe volunteering should be accessible to everyone, but it does still cost us to feed, house, and support every volunteer. So by fundraising and sharing your page, you're helping sustain this model. You're keeping it free for others who want to make a difference, just like you. And it's such a beautiful way to give back to communities you'll be serving and to the organisation making it possible. So yeah, how to get started with fundraising. Danny, if you could switch to the next slide, please. So getting started is super simple and you can do it literally right now. First things first, you just need to set up your page. I'll drop a link in the chat as soon as I'm finished chewing your ear off. But you'll be able to find the link on the Volunteer Info Hub as well and in your pre-arrival emails. It literally only takes 2 minutes and it's a very intuitive platform to use. Like, it'll run you through like uploading a photo of yourself if you choose and things like that. But yeah, please reach out if you've got any issues. Secondly, share your story. So you can message your friends, your families, community groups, post on social media. Dan can provide some social media templates for you if you're a bit stuck on what to say. Please tag All Hands and Hearts because we love to see your experiences and we love to share them to our own Instagram and things like that. Photos or videos make a huge impact too. You can even show your packing, your travel, your preparation journey to make people feel like they're coming along with you. Next, keep people updated. Once you're on program, post stories and photos. Obviously, I think people who've been on program before, you can kind of get sucked into program life and it's wonderful, but it's so important to share what the impact of people's donations is having. There will be a Google photo drive, so you can access that to see all the photos throughout the whole of program. So if you're arriving later, you can kind of flick back and see what other people have been up to, and then share these with your networks. Get creative. So you could try, maybe it's a birthday coming up, a birthday fundraiser, like on Facebook, for example, you can say, oh, instead of buying me a pint this year, how about donate to All Hands and Hearts, my fundraising page. Maybe you could try a give up challenge. I don't know about you, but I'm a bit addicted to chocolate, so I could give up chocolate for a month and get donations for that. You could do a friendly fundraising competition with other volunteers. Like maybe you're coming with some friends and you could set up a fundraising team page and then compete against each other. You could also promise postcards or photos from site to donors who give a certain amount. So yeah, there's lots of different opportunities, and Dan and myself can definitely support you coming up with some ideas. Finally, it is no coincidence that the fundraising has the word fun in it. Dan, your VRC, will be hosting many, many great events and activities and programs to help break the ice and get everybody involved. So we'd love for you to get out as much of this experience as possible. So please do join in. And yeah, that's everything from me. I'm going to pass on to Niall, who talked to you a bit more about our alumni network. However, if you do have any engagement related queries, please reach out to Dan, or you can reach out to me on volunteer fundraising at allhandsandhearts.org. But yeah, thank you.
Cheers, Sarah. Hi, guys. So as I mentioned before, All Hands and Hearts has the alumni network. This is essentially like a social media that has been set up with the principal idea of keeping people connected and connecting people throughout the organization. So before you arrive, you can make an account on there. We can get a link in there so you can get onto that, but it should be in your pre-arrival communications. Siobhan just put it in. Thank you. So yeah, jump on there, make an account, have a look around. There's loads of really cool resources on there about joining program, what program life will be like. You can connect with fellow volunteers, past and present. So those who are, returning to this program, it's not your first time, jump back on there, see who's coming to the new one and reconnect with folks. Once you're on program, it's a great place to share your volunteer experience. It's always nice to see, people reconnecting on there and photos that might not necessarily make it to Instagram or might not make it to the kind of public pages of All Hands. It's more of like a private space where we can reconnect and reminisce and discuss what's happening. So there should be a specific group that you can join for the Nepal program where we'll share stuff on there. After program, staying connected with friends you've made and staying updated about our work around the world and volunteer and employment vacancies. So our volunteers are around, I think it's around 60% of the people that we get on our programs return from other programs. So once you've arrived, if it's your first time coming, you'll realize what it's all about and you'll probably fall in love with it like everyone else did. So once you've left program, the alumni network is a really great way to stay connected. We post a lot of exclusive volunteer opportunities on there. So sometimes we'll be setting up projects around the world that only alumni are invited to. And right now, you're all alumni as you've signed up to join and you're going to be with us. So it's a really cool space to check out exclusive opportunities and as well professional development and employment vacancies. We often update on there different trainings that we found from various different organizations within the humanitarian sector that you'll have access to, and also our own vacancies. Most of our staff members all started out as volunteers. And if it's your first program and you realize you love it and you realize, this is what you want to do, then this is the place where you'll find those opportunities. So we'll be updating our own jobs on there and getting active on there and keeping updated with that is a really great way of putting yourself in a good position to potentially look at a professional development with All Hands. So yeah, take advantage of the professional development resources that we have on there. We usually have a mentorship scheme once a year and humanitarian training from all over the sector. So if ever you have any questions or any content that you want to put on there, or if you want to talk about professional development, you can get in touch with me or anyone else from VAR and the engagement team. But if you want to join on there and you want to have a chat, get to know people, get to know what is available to you outside of just the volunteering that you'll be doing when you're on program, that's the place to do it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Niall. We're going to hit our Q&A session, but we actually only have 2 more minutes from our scheduled time. Now, I'm happy to stay on because this has been recorded, so I'll happily stay on and answer the questions that we already have. I don't know, I just wanted to check, Tara, are you okay to stay on for slides or do we need to switch?
I can absolutely stay on for slides if you prefer.
Thank you so much. So anyone else that needs to go, any of our panelists, we obviously do need someone to stick around and answer the construction questions. But if you guys need to jump off, we can obviously just get back to anyone if there's no one there to answer those. But just wanted to give everyone the time. If you had a hard stop at 1/2 past the hour, please feel free to go now. And we are recording this, so we'll send the recording. And if we can't answer any questions now live, then we will get the answer to you and follow that up. So I'm just going to kick off with the first questions and I'll say goodbye to anyone that has to leave. The first question there, are we on the slides? Thanks, Tara. So the first question is if we want to stay longer than the 90 days of the tourist visa, does it mean we'd need to go to Kathmandu to renew it during the 3-day break in January? So just to explain that, volunteers, yeah, you will have to travel to Kathmandu over your break to get the visa extension. But what we would do is we want to make sure that you do still get some rest. It's important you get rest from the programme. So we would add an additional day off to your break because it's a bit of a long journey to go to Kathmandu and we want to ensure you have a proper rest. And again, you'll work all that out with the team. If you just let us know in advance when you need to go, we'll sort out your breaks and things like that. The second question, what do you recommend to bring to the programme with us? Clothing, bedding, etc. Dan did a really good overview there of some of the things, but just wanted to confirm again, we do not provide bedding, so please ensure you bring that along. We recommend either you bring along an air mattress, or you buy what we call a Nepali mattress, which is like a soft, sort of cushiony type of thing when you're in the country. So it just depends about what you've got space in your luggage, or if you've got if you're bringing quite a lot of stuff. If you're doing some traveling, maybe you wouldn't be able to bring an air mattress or something like that. But you'll definitely be needing something. And then in terms of what we recommend you to bring to programme, work boots are absolutely mandatory. If there's one thing you can take away from this, it's we won't be providing bedding and work boots are mandatory. So you'll be using sharp tools, you'll be working with heavy objects, so your feet need to be properly protected. We do have a detailed packing list in the information hub. I don't know if someone could pop a link to the Nepal information hub in the chat while we're talking, but do check out that packing list as they've got all the information there that you need. I don't know if there's someone still on from the programme team. We've got a question. Question number 3, how much would it cost to set up Wi-Fi and base for volunteers? I think I'll just quickly cover my interpretation of this. Obviously, I want the programme team to jump in, but we do have Wi-Fi on programme. That's how the programme runs. We couldn't run it without Wi-Fi. So the Wi-Fi is already there. It's just a case of accessing for volunteers. I don't know if there's a person still on the call.
So just on the Wi-Fi front, the
Thanks,
Wi-Fi
Dan.
we have at base, because the Wi-Fi is quite poor, has to be reserved for like program essential activities, i.e. like staff access to that only, like staff laptops, that sort of thing. Emergency communication. In terms of volunteers being able to be like connected while they're here, as per the directions to base in the volunteer information hub, we do recommend getting a SIM card. These can be very, very easily purchased as you come through Kathmandu's airport arrivals hall. Both Ncell and NTC have good connections here. Ncell is probably the better, but both work. We have discussed the possibility of getting another Wi-Fi router for volunteers, but we're assessing the cost of that, and just there's a decision yet to be made. But we've heard you and we are discussing it. But if you want to absolutely guarantee, and I would say it's just really sensible to get a SIM card anyway, like getting to program from Kathmandu airport without a SIM card would be a challenge in and of itself. So I highly recommend getting one of those SIM cards. They're very cheap, lots of gigabytes when you arrive at the airport.
Thanks so much for that, Dan. And I wonder if you might just cover this question 4 as well. It's about having an idea of how much cash someone should budget for the days off, and is it safe to keep money at the base?
So in terms of how much you'd bring, that really depends what you want to do while on your days off. Like some people would just want to stay around base, chill out. Some people might want to maybe go and get a night away at a hotel. Some of you might want to go off on your break on some more extravagant adventures. I hear good things about Chitwan National Park, which is a few hours away. So it really depends what you want to do. As a rough idea, sort of again, it depends if you want to get a hotel, for example, it depends whether you want to go budget and you could probably get something for, $10 a night, or if you want to get something a little nicer, you could pay $20, $30, it really depends what you want to do and how long you're going to be here as to what to budget. But as a general rule, things are a lot cheaper here. So if you wanted to do it cheap, you can do it cheap. If you want to spend a bit more, you can spend a bit more. And in terms of safe to keep money at base, I would personally consider so. Like I don't hold any concerns around that. I mean, everyone's as safe as they want to feel in that sense, but it's a very safe area around here. I know other all hands programs we have overnight security, sometimes 24-hour security. We don't have any of that here. It's a very, very safe area. The community is very lovely. So I would say yes to that, but we can never predict or mitigate every circumstance that may occur. So yeah, but overall, I personally feel very safe with that sort of thing here.
Thanks so much for that, Dan, and for providing your own, your own thoughts on that there. I do just also want to reiterate that we obviously operate a zero tolerance policy on, theft and things like that. So Dan's right, we can't mitigate against anything. And obviously we hope that everybody that arrives on an all hands and hearts program does so with the best intentions. But if there ever is a situation like that, it would be handled very seriously if we caught someone stealing or if there was items missing, etc. So we would, be trying to launch some form of investigation. But very, very rare do these things happen on our programs. But obviously, there's never 0% chance. So just thanks so much for confirming that, Dan. I feel like this might be more of a program team question, or maybe we would just talk to this person individually, but someone's very kindly offered to provide high-vis vest tops and bump caps. Don't know if they'd be valuable to the project. I mean, I don't know that we'd be doing anything at night time or anything, Dan. I don't know if Kez is there, or I feel like that might just be a question to just talk about individually rather than...
Yeah, whoever's added this question, if you want to reach out to me directly, I can provide you with an answer. I will need to consult with Gambir, who is our country manager. He would have a better idea of kind of what we would want, and I need to go through with him anyway and update the current Amazon gifting kind list. Gambir is a very busy man, so he's quite difficult to pin down at times. But I will go through that and update that. And if you want to reach out to me directly with those questions, I will get an answer from Gambir about that specifically.
That's lovely. Thank you so much, Dan. And then Tara, I think we're going to direct this question back to yourself. Someone is asking about adding personalised photos to their fundraiser page, and were we aware that there seems to be an error, a 404 error message appearing after people donate. So just don't know if you're aware of that or have any advice.
Cool. Thanks, Siobhan. Yeah, thanks for the query. I really appreciate it. Regarding the personalized photo to the fundraising page, so this is kind of a common issue we sometimes see with fundraising pages, and there's a few things that could potentially be causing it. So sometimes it's literally that the picture you're trying to upload is too large, or like you may have some unstable internet connection, or maybe you've got an ad blocker that's kind of affecting the website's functionality. So there's lots of different reasons. If you reach out to Dan or myself, we can work with you directly on resolving that, because it could be just even a case of you send the picture to Dan when you're on program and he can upload it himself, because it just happens from time to time. Regarding the second half of your question, the 404 error code, thank you so much. I didn't know that. I have double checked and all the donations are going through as normal, so Ooh, thank goodness. But thank you so much for already sharing your page and spreading the word. That's so appreciated. For a bit of context for you guys, we've recently rebranded our website, which is super exciting, and we've updated our fundraising campaigns. But in the process of doing so, we're currently archiving the current fundraising campaign for Nepal and then replacing it with the new one. So that's the link you've got in the chat and Dan sharing. So in this closing down process, it looks like the old link, it like the thank you donate, like the thank you for donating process, like messaging process, isn't quite working as it's supposed to because obviously it's been archived in certain areas. So as we continue to migrate to the new campaign, we're going to get all volunteers who previously fundraised in Nepal. They'll be creating a new fundraising page for this new campaign because the old page will be archived at the end of this month. Don't worry about any of your previous donations though, because I will be able to manually transfer them across. So you're not going to lose any of your fundraising progress. Because absolutely we want to thank you for that and making sure that it's actually represented there for you guys. It's a bit of a growing pains. I apologize for any inconvenience that may cause you. But as we continue to grow as an organisation, it's so important to get our branding correct and our messaging correct, especially when we're working with people like volunteers and donors. So we're aiming to have nothing but transparency and professionalism. So yeah, it's a process. It's the first one for me. It's a bit new, lots of learning new things myself. So please forgive me if there's any confusion caused. But like, if you have any queries, please reach out to Dan or myself. And yeah, I hope we can figure it out soon. But thank you.
Thank you so much for explaining that, Tara. That's great. We do have just two more questions on the next slides, and then we'll be wrapping up after those. So number 7 is quite, there's a couple of questions within within the questions. So number 7 says, on what date do we need to arrive? So the first and last day of your invitation email are considered as your arrival and departure dates. Now we mean arrival on the program on those days. So obviously you are free to, Nepal is a beautiful, special country, so you're free to arrive before or after those dates at your leisure and do some traveling, do some hiking, whatever it is you want to do. But when we talk about your arrival date and your departure date, that is the ones that are on your on your invitation email. So if you check those out and you think I'm not going to make that anymore, please do get in contact with Denny, get in contact, just reply to any email that we've sent you and it'll come back to us. And of course, you're responsible for your you're responsible for your travel to the base. So that's in reference to the next point, who will pick us up to go to the mission site. So we've provided that in your directions to base document. So we won't be collecting you or anything like that. You follow the instructions on the directions to base, and that should be in your original invitation email. So do search for that. If you can't find that information, just again get in contact with Denny. You will need to arrive before 5 p.m. To the base on the arrival day because we want to get everyone in long before curfew and get you settled before quiet hours. So again, if you need to adjust your dates or if you think you're going to be arriving after 5 p.m. on that day, do get in touch with Denny again to let her know that. We've also been asked, can we have the exact address of the mission for our parents? Now, I'll be honest and say I haven't seen these directions to base at the moment, so I don't know if there's a specific. Sometimes we provide the Google Maps, the what are these called? The locations. I don't know what I'm talking about. Like thank you, the coordinates. Thank you very much, Dan. I was blanking. Yes, we provide the official coordinates. If they're not on there, do reach out to the team and we can get those if you're needing a specific point of reference there. And if we find a cheaper flight that arrives on January 7th, can we take it? Again, that sounds like it's a very individual query for that person. I would just encourage that person to reach out to Denny and discuss any of your concerns. You are able to change your dates usually, but we do have limited space on the program, etc. So we do want to run that past Denny to make sure that there's not too many people on program or any one day, too many people on site or too many people on base. So just reach out to Denny if you've got any questions at all about changing your dates, changing your time. And a really, really important question, I'm glad you've asked this, do you have any security measures in place regarding the political situation in Nepal? So while the situation, does continue, we are always, as we do around the world all the time, we are monitoring that situation. We have a full safety team. We have a full a team of people that monitor these things. We've also got an in-country team. So currently things do seem to be settled. We have people in Nepal at this very minute, as you can see them there. But of course, if any safety hazards do arise, if there's anything that's going to impact our volunteers travelling or anything impacting our staff or the programme going ahead successfully, we will of course proceed with our own safety plans, and we would inform incoming volunteers as soon as possible. But at the moment, we are not worried about the situation, and it shouldn't be impacting the great work that's going to be getting done. Dan, I just want to double check anything there that you would add. Have I covered that well? I just wanted to make sure you've got the chance to jump in there.
Yeah, no, I think you covered it. In terms of the directions to base and the specific address, like once you, like obviously this will be shared publicly, so we can't share the exact location on the call, but anybody who's been accepted to program and has been given an invitation, when I reach out to you a couple of weeks before you arrive, that will have all of that kind of information in there. And yeah, if you have any questions about specific locations or how to get here, or there's any confusion about how, like you're asking like who picks us up or like how to get here, like if you have any questions about that, like you can reach out to me and I'll be able to provide information. If you're on the ground and struggling potentially with the language barrier can be difficult at times, we can potentially even like put you in on the phone with somebody here who speaks both Nepali and English, and they can help with translation as well. So have no fear with all of that. Like, you know, challenges that come up is all part of the adventure of coming to program. But we're here to help when those challenges do occur.
Love that. Thank you so much, Dan. And the very last question, Dan's covered most of it. The last question was, what weather do I have to prepare for? What about bedding and laundry? So I just want to confirm for a final time. Dan covered the weather earlier. Again, it does depend when you'll be arriving, but for the most part, it's fairly warm during the day and it can be colder at night. So my personal recommendation, and I'm sure the team will agree, is just consider some warm sleepwear, a good winter sleeping bag. And one thing I would say, as much as it might be hot during the day, we do want to remain respectful of local culture and customs at all times. So if we're thinking about shorts, these should be knee length or longer, and our shoulders should be covered at all times. That's in line with a lot of, Hindu and Nepali customs. So like no vest tops, for example. We will provide you with a work t-shirt. So it's really just your work shorts, your work trousers, and evening clothes and days off clothes to think about in that regard. Dan, the only thing I don't know about currently is laundry. Sometimes we have a local person that might do that for a fee, or is it everyone doing their own laundry?
Yeah, so in terms of laundry, the work shirts that we provide, we will also launder for you. In terms of personal items, we do have a housekeeper on base, Rekha. She's absolutely lovely. And I've put a poster up on base which will show for personal items the cost per item, and she will launder personal items for you. And I'll be able to give you more information about that once you're here. And the only thing to be mindful about when it comes to personal items is, for cultural reasons, we do not give undergarments or socks to the locals or to anyone doing laundry to be washed. We would do all those ourselves. And that would be hand washing a station we've set up on base. So that kind of covers all the laundry. But if you have any more questions about that, once you're here, like there's plenty of information about it, or you can just ask any of us and we'll be able to help you with that.
Thanks so much, Dan. Yeah, it's hard work there on site. I don't think anybody should be washing anyone else's socks. You absolutely should be doing that yourself. But I'm glad we've came to the end of the questions that we had submitted in advance of this presentation. There were some questions that came through the chat. I have been trying to keep an eye on them. I think most of them have been answered. If you are still on the call and you don't think your question's been answered, please don't worry. We will go through the chat. We'll export that and just make sure that all the questions were answered. And if they weren't, we will just include that when we follow up with your recording of this. If you have stayed on, thank you so much. For staying later. We did run a good little 15 minutes over. Thank you for the speakers that stayed on. Thanks to the team. Thank you for everyone that helped prepare this webinar. And again, just if you have any questions at all, do please just send an email to that to Denny there, to all hands AH&H Nepal Relief at allhandsandhearts.org. Danny's put that in the chat, and like I said, a lot of information can be found in the information hub as well. You're welcome to chat to people on the alumni network, however you want to get involved. Do just know that we are happy to hear from you, and we want to make sure you're as prepared as possible. And those are my details there on the last slide. If you want to talk about anything more generally related to volunteering, and having a part of your volunteer experience. So thank you so much. Thanks, Kath. It was lovely to see you as well. Just seeing you messaging there in the chat. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in, and any questions, like I say, just get in contact with us. And we're really looking forward to having you guys on site with us very, very soon. So thank you, everyone. Take care. We're going to end the recording really soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.